Hi everyone, in today's video I'm finally getting my daffodils in the ground. I'm going to plant them along these two borders that lead into my front door, and I'm also going to include some helpful spring bulb planting tips while doing so. But before I get them in the ground, I'm going to first trim back all this society garlic. I don't normally trim back my society garlic every year, but it's been a few years and I feel they just need a good haircut. And what I would like to do is after I trim them is dig them up and divide them, because I can plant them in other places in my garden. I've actually only started with 1 or 2 society garlics here, and I kept dividing them, and that's why I have 10 of them now. Did I count that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 10 of them now. But I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to wait till spring because we're getting into the colder weather and I don't want to make them struggle. Now, I have planted daffodils in between my society garlics in the past, so I'm going to be extra careful when I dig the holes because daffodils naturalize here in California, so I don't want to stab or kill any existing bulbs that are viable and ready to sprout. So the daffodils I'm planting today, I just got at the big box store and I love them. I know you can get those little pretty foo-foo-y different colored daffodils, but honestly, these yellow trumpets are faithful, the blooms are big, they last a long time, and I just love them. Plus, they don't cost a whole lot. For 35 jumbo bulbs, I only paid $20, $19.98. So I think that's a good price. And my plan is to plant 5 or 7 bulbs between each society garlic, but whatever, I might change my mind in the process. Let me just get to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove all my solar pathway lights. That way I'll have a nice clear area so I can rake and plant the bulbs and do everything I need to do to get this area ready for daffodils. Because I don't film my garden at nighttime, you probably don't know this, but these pathway lights are absolutely beautiful. They make the most prettiest design on the concrete pathway when they're illuminated at night. This awesome company called Gigalumi, they sent me these lights for free. That's the one fun thing about having a YouTube channel is companies often reach out and they ask to send you free product in exchange for trying them out. Just a fun little perk to having a YouTube channel that I enjoy. So now I'm trimming back my society garlic. They've actually been here for about 7 years and I've never trimmed them back, so I feel it's time that I give them a nice haircut. I can't wait to divide them. They've gotten so big, the root ball, the whole clump, that I know I could make several plants from each one, so I'm really excited to do that in spring. If you've never grown them, I highly recommend just giving it a try. They're no fuss, low maintenance, and they make pretty purple flowers on long stems in the summertime. Okay, it's getting warm, so I had to change. Before I clean up and plant my daffodils, I want to address a question that you might be having. Are you wondering, isn't it too late to plant daffodils? Well, yes and no. That totally depends on your own climate and garden zone. For me, it's not too late. For garden zones 8 through 9, we can plant our spring bulbs in November or early December, so I am right on track. Cold climates, zones 3 through 5, say that fast 3 times, you can plant your bulbs in September or early October. Milder climates, zones 6 through 7, you can plant your bulbs mid-October, early November. So yeah, it depends on what garden zone you are in, all that good stuff. However, if you're planting bulbs in pots, I mean, really, you could pretty much do it anytime and you don't have to pay attention to those garden zones because your ground isn't freezing because it's in a pot, and that's why it's fun to also plant spring bulbs in pots. Less rules. So let me clean this up and get my daffodils in the ground. case you're wondering why on earth didn't I compost all that debris or at least put it in the chicken coop, this is why. My Chinese pistache tree drops a ton of berries, and I don't feel like having little baby Chinese pistache trees popping up everywhere in my garden. And although they're not toxic to birds, I'm not quite sure about chickens, but I do know the little berries are toxic to animals. So I don't want to take the chance that that could include my precious chickens. Now that I got a clean canvas, I can kind of see where my old daffodil bulbs that naturalized are already popping up. Look at, there's one right here. I'd pick it up and show you, but it's already rooted in. So I want to be sure, wow, they're all popping up. Whole bunch of them. So I want to be sure to look for areas where I don't see little sprouts. Now for the fun part, getting the bulbs in the ground. One of these days I'm going to have to get me one of those fancy augers, but for now I'll just continue to use my trusty little hand shovel. Yes, my friends, you can still plant bulbs the old-fashioned way using a shovel. Now, as far as how deep should you plant bulbs? Well, the general rule of thumb for planting spring bulbs is to plant the bulbs 2 or 3 times as deep as the bulb is tall. This means that most large bulbs like tulips or daffodils will be planted about 6 inches deep, while other smaller bulbs like hyacinth or freesias, they'll be planted 3 to 4 inches deep. You can always find instructions on the back of each package of bulbs you pick up. It'll give you the time zones, when is the best time to plant, which we've already gone over, and it'll also tell you how deep to plant the bulb. So all the information is almost always on the back of all the packaging. I've heard someone suggest that if you plant the bulb a little deeper than suggested, that would help the stems to be longer and more sturdy, so when the daffodil blooms, it'll have less flopping in the wind. However, if you plant those bulbs too deep, that could cause suffocation and bulb rot. So I guess it's all to your own discretion. Do what's best for you in your garden. Now that I got the bulbs planted, I will only water them 1 time. I'm expecting some rain in the forecast, so I don't want the bulbs to get completely drenched and mushy, but I will give them 1 little watering. I also plan to go to the big box store and get a couple bags of mulch just to protect the tender little shoots and also keep my soil and microorganisms happy. It feels so good to finally get those bulbs in the ground. I only had 1 casualty. I think I stabbed one. And out of the 70 bulbs I planted, it looks like 6 of them were not viable. You can always tell when a bulb isn't viable. It's very light. It's not as heavy as the good bulbs. It's like there's nothing in them. They're hollow. So I'll just throw those in the compost. And I don't know if you noticed, but my little knee cushion is just a pillow that I got at the thrift store. It works perfectly. It really makes my knees feel better. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it was fun and helpful, and maybe a couple of my daffodil planting tips can be helpful for your garden too. Thanks for watching.